So, here I am again. This time playing Endzone, A World Apart. This showed up in my humble monthly bundle. I am a subscriber to that service, and I rather enjoy it. It's one of the reasons why I have way, way too many games in my Steam library. I'm gonna have to set up a digital will. Ugh. It is a post-apocalyptic base builder, I think, type survival game, city builder, something like that. Very different from the game I just played, so I fully understand if it is not your thing. Of course, the first step in all of this is to lower the music. Just in case. Let's lower it a little bit more. There we go. Just in case they, oh, hi, Nala. How are you? Okay, fine. Just in case there's copyright music on this and they don't like streamers or some other BS. Alright, so let's see what we have here. Since we're already in the options, I have borderless window, which is great, so I can jump between this game and my OBS chat thing. VSync on-demand rendering, resolution. Okay, so it seems like a very basic set of graphics, and for this style of game, I'm fine with that. I'm old. I'm still impressed when I see, like, PlayStation 3 graphics. There's still that part of my brain that grew up gaming in the 90s that goes, oh my god, 3D? And they have a little bit of mouth movement, too. Holy shit. So, there is that. And my cat keeps wanting attention. Let's see if I can pick her up. Nope, she ran away. I was gonna show her to you, but all right. So, there is a cat right there. Hard to tell with the way the camera is. There she is. Yeah. Oh yeah. I have a armchair that ends up being the depository for my laundry, and thus becomes her favorite bed, especially when I am gaming. Alright, so let's take a look. Radiation effect, camera animations, show building tooltip in the game world. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Radiation levels, soil levels, color schemes. Oh, okay, so they have different color schemes. Controls. WASD looks like it moves the camera, so that's good. As you've probably seen a tail in the camera. That is the gray one. She, when she hears me talk to my computer, she gets jealous and comes up. She either gets jealous or she becomes concerned with my sanity. So she will show up and start hanging out, and will bite me if I don't give her love. It's a very abusive relationship, I promise you. Then there's camera movement with the mouse, which is right button, Q and E, clockwise, counterclockwise, middle button on the mouse. Zoom out is number pad. Zoom in is number pad. Alternate. Do they have a mouse scroll zoom in and out? Like, number pad plus minus is all well and good, but I would like, oh, they don't. Okay, well, let's, oh, shit. That was supposed to be the equal sign. There we go. Alright, pause game, normal speed, 1, 2, 3, pause game is space, build menu is B, V and is professions, and C is open resources. Choosing placing, left button, right button, veto, building repairs. No, lay down. Lay down, hon. I'm going to pet you. You just have to lay down. Okay. Well, I'm sure all of this will be covered in the tutorial, whatever tutorial may be. This game was recently released, I believe, on the 9th, if I recall correctly. It's been in early access, and I got really excited upon seeing... oh, no. It's right there on the screen. Must have been earlier. Maybe it was a different game I was thinking of that was released on the 9th. Prosperity, the DLC, was released on October 21st, so I am totally off. Well, it was released this year, either way. And I saw Splattercat Gaming, or Splattercat, or whatever, play it, and I was excited, so this is going to be me playing it, and seeing if I maintain my level of excitement. Highly recommend Splattercat. He does good half-hour-long introductions to video games. I would love to mimic his channel because we both love indie games, and I tend to love every game he does. But fact of the matter is, I can't produce the content he does at the rate he does, and I also like to play for longer than half an hour. So call me we have Splattercat at home. Instead it's Mad Catter. So yes, there we go. Alright, so we're going to start a new game. Let's go with tutorial. A longer interrelated tutorial that includes all important blah 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 blah. Start! Hi. Look at her. Oh, you can't see her. She's kind of a gray floof right here. There she is. There's the kitty.
We finally left the Endzone. Just look at this beautiful scenery. It's marvelous, even though it's a bit different from what we had pictured. We were able to secure a few basic resources and are storing them in our bus.
Okay. We've got some boars over there that we'll probably end up hunting, is my guess.
I'm glad we prepared ourselves well for this kind of scenario, especially since our inventories in the Endzone ran low. Don't forget that if you need additional information, you can look at our survival guide at any time.
Okay. It also has a weather thing down here. Looks like weather forecast. Build a weather station for forecasts. Oh, okay. Well, let's do it. Got some people here. Okay, good. Mouse wheel does zoom in and out. I was a little worried about that. I've seen games make that mistake before. Alright, so bus wreck. Build. Build? No. 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 Crap, what did he say? He said build something. Open the survival guide. That's what he said. I can read. I know things. Alright, so we have tasks. Gather wood, gather scrap, gather plants, gather everything. Alright, settlers begin to gather all resources located within the task's active working area. That one strikes me as being very important. Remove radiation. Settlers begin to remove radiation pollution by digging up the soil. Unlike other tasks, here you don't need any freely available settlers. All settlers who have nothing to do at the moment, even those who have a workplace, will help dig. And then we can cancel remove radiation. Oh. I left the camera on the cat for a moment. Oh, and she knocked out my... She knocked the loose wire of my blacklight. Of course she did. Now she's in a cubby hole. This is far more messy than it should be, but I'm lazy. Alright.
Well done. Everything you need to know should be right here. I think the time has come for us to at last build ourselves a new home here. Before we can construct buildings at all, we have to assign the profession builder to several settlers so that they can take care of construction contracts. In general, it's your responsibility to decide which tasks are important and how our settlers are supposed to be distributed to attend to them.
Alright. So we click over here. Click on builder. Okay. Assign settlers to builders. Do the settlers have current profession? Settler. Can I right click on them? No. Can I assign? How do I assign? Alright, let's go over here to the survival guide. Profession. Oh, okay, so we just click the up button. That makes sense. I knew that. Ha! I was just checking to see. Yeah.
All right. Your builders will be ready as soon as construction contracts have been issued. It's time to start focusing on our key and most basic need, water. The first thing we ought to do is to establish a working water supply. So we'll move on to our first construction contract. Place and build a jetty by a lake in the vicinity of your town center.
Okay. Is there a rotation? I think I need to rotate. Rotate? 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 Oh, there we go. Let's speed things up, shall we?
Very good. The jetty was completed as planned. Now we have a place where we can collect water. There are other possibilities to gather water too, but the jetty is the simplest and most cost-effective method. We can obtain and store water from different sources, like a jetty, rain collector, or well in the cistern. The cistern should always be in close proximity to a water source, so that our water carriers don't have to walk too far.
Again, we'll speed things up. I know these games are fun, not exactly the best games for streaming. Which means I probably won't be live streaming this game after this initial example. This will be more of an introduction. This doesn't exactly pair well with red wine. Oh. So a cistern looks like a pool with a tarp over it. Probably some sort of scrapped together filtration system as well. There's some weird sounds coming from some animals. Scrap pile, probably brimming with radiation. Is there anything else I can build? Oh, assign 3 settlers as water carrier.
Great. We have now installed a working water supply, and water is now transported from the jetty to our cistern. Consider hiring more water carriers if you don't have enough settlers available. You can never have enough water in storage.
Good to know.
Now we should focus on food production. It's important to ensure the supply right from the start. A gatherer's cabin, a hunting lodge, or a fishing hut can directly remedy the situation. I suggest starting with a fishing hut, since we're already located near a lake.
All right. Seems fairly simple. Food. Fishing huts. R rotates, which makes way too much sense. I refuse. Alright, so we'll get that. Is it going to let me do... No. Cat, what are you doing? Knocking things over? You look like you have the midnight crazies. The zoomies. See, I'm a cat person, but one of these days I want a dog. My cats would kill me in my sleep, though. And just latch onto my face and smother me. But I will have a dog one of these days. A big one. Maybe a long-haired German Shepherd. I like them. Alright, so now we have to assign someone to be a fisher. How many? 2. They want 2.
Good work. We've now taken care of our basic supply via food and water. Make sure that you have enough food and water on hand at all times, especially if you want to upgrade your settlement. A population that grows too fast can quickly unbalance your food and water supply, bringing major difficulties for you if you don't watch out. Crops are another excellent way of getting food, because they constantly grow as long as the soil is moist enough. Each seed has different yields and growing times. This means that it could take some time until your field is ready to be harvested, in contrast to your fishing hut, where production can be right away.
All right. Assign settlers, cultivate field. Okay. Oh, what's this? Soil mush. Oh. Okay. So that indicates the soil moisture. Moist and wet. So, I guess that means we need to build, cultivate a field. And let's do that here, shall we? Right next to the fishing lodge. Perfect. Did that do it? Hey, what you doing? Alright, so cultivate field. Among others, did it work? Rotate, blocking, place, end mode. Oh, okay. So, yeah, we will... Oh, I see. There we go. And we will assign a farmer. I will call you Farmer John, because I am a creative individual. Seeds from fields chosen. Is there something... How do I do that? Activate, deactivate, production. Oh, choose seed. We're going to do... cabbage. There we are. Oh, wait. Nope. Keep that going. I want to get out of this... What's this one? Building condition. Okay. Electricity. Okay. Location attractiveness. Okay. Alright. Oh. Fisher, a farmer. What am I missing? Homeless settlers. Build houses. Oncoming drought. Stockpile water. Okay, I get it. No seed chosen. I said... Oh.
Looks good. Remember that we need the widest variety of food sources to stay healthy. You should also plan ahead for drought periods that might come when it's not going to rain. Stock up on food and adapt your production to avoid bottlenecks. I'll show you a few more strategies later on. At the beginning, we don't have much scrap wood or other resources. We could build a production building, but to obtain resources as fast as possible, it's best that we start gathering right away. Assign a Gather All Resources task. All the settlers who haven't been assigned any profession by you are going to accept these kinds of tasks. In addition, settlers distribute resources within your settlement.
All right. Tasks. Buildings and tasks. Resources. Oh, tasks. Here we go. We want to gather wood. Sure. We want to gather scrap. Sure. Plants. They said gather all resources, but that one's not available, so whatever. Alright, so it'll do that. We've got our maximum so far for wood and scrap.
Since we now own plenty of resources, we can start to build a real production building. Then you don't have to always make efforts by hand that collecting is taking place. Production buildings are not only easier to manage, they are also distinctly more effective than simple tasks. Don't place production buildings too far away from your settlement. You'll be able to change their working area at any time later on. Right on. The best thing for us to do now is to build a forester's lodge to automate our supply of wood and make it more effective at the same time. Foresters are not only able to chop down trees, they reforest areas with trees as well.
Oh, autosave. All right. So, we're going to go to this. We're going to get a forester's lodge. And I suppose we'll put it right here. See, I like these games. These games fill me with a bit of zen. Which again, of course, makes them not terribly interesting to watch. So I do apologize if you're bored. I think after this tutorial, let's see how long have I been in this. 26 minutes. Alright. I think after this, I'll go and do something a little more exciting, unless anybody has a welcome Colossa.
Good job. You might want to change this building's working area later on to tell your workers where they should get their wood from. Ah, and for your information, if you want, you can also tell your Forester's Lodge that they only ought to attend to reforesting an area in order to create a lush, green forest which generations to come can use.
Okay.
Very good. Now we ought to take care of collecting scrap. Scrap is one of the most valuable resources because the quantities present are limited, and we can recover other resources from scrap. Unlike the task we just had, the scrap yard allows larger quantities of existing scrap to be dismantled than with ruins or wrecks.
So we're going to build a scrapyard. And we're going to assign someone to be this scrap collector. And we're going to try to produce 20 scrap. Look at everybody going about their little lives. Doing their little deeds. Gathering their water. Fishing for the fishies. This is not an honest attempt at any sort of accent. I'm just being funny. I love that you can click on them and see what the status is. Like what's going on with your chosen building. What's the radiation effect on that?
Great. You can change the working area for the scrapyard, too. We can recycle scrap into 4 additional resources: cloth, metal, plastic, and electronics. We'll do that shortly, but for now we ought to take care of your settlers' needs first. Our people want a place to sleep and live. Cabins fulfill their need for safety and privacy, and increase the confidence of their inhabitants. In other words, building cabins increases their willingness to start families and reproduce, if you know what I mean.
Wait. Oh, he means calling the stork, of course. Why didn't I think of that? Storks are infamous for not wanting to be seen when they deliver their little bundle of joy. That's why they tell you to leave the room when Mommy and Daddy are busy conferring with the stork order forms. It's a very loud and involved process. So go outside and play, Timmy. Go outside and play. I'm gonna set up a nice little neighborhood here. We got 6, 7, 8. And just to increase productivity, I am going to increase the number of builders we have and start double timing. Oh, hey, the cabbages are coming in. Look at this nice little shanty neighborhood. We really need to get somebody to hunt those.
Besides cabins, you can also provide sturdy houses and shelters as housing. Sturdy houses withstand sandstorms better and have an increased storage capacity to boot. Children living in houses gradually fill up the house's stockpiles. Settlers do not reproduce in a shelter because they lack privacy. Let's return from our excursion into housing and refocus on scrap. With the help of a recycler or refinery, scrap can be sorted into 4 different resources. A recycler always takes scrap apart, one resource at a time, while a refinery automatically produces all 4 resources. To start off, you should build a recycler and produce cloth.
All right. We'll get a recycler. And we'll put it here. So of course we need to get a refiner in here. And yeah, so it is already set to produce cloth, I guess. Oh, okay, and I can just click on whichever one of those I need. Excellent. Our lake is dry. I mean, of course it is. We're in a... Just hoping we have enough water. Where is our water supply? Oh, no! Okay, we're getting more water. Our lake is back. No more drought.
You can instruct your recycler to produce a different resource at a time. It's important that you focus on the resources you really need, at least in the beginning. Cloth and metal look like good options if you want to equip us with protective clothing and tools. Happy settlers are industrious settlers. That's why we ought to look after our people and protect them against the surroundings and dangers, like radiation. So let's start by transforming our newly recovered cloth into protective clothing. A tailor will be able to help us with that.
A tailor, you say? Madness. Absolute madness. Oh, let's speed things up a bit.
We categorize environmental radiation into 4 levels: no radiation, low level, medium level, and high level radiation. The radiation changes constantly and is influenced by weather and contaminated rain. Protective clothing helps to protect us against this kind of radiation, but it takes a while before it's produced. And production relies on a steady flow of incoming resources. Try to establish production chains at an early stage and start to stockpile goods so that some are always on hand.
I can already see that this game is going to become very involved. Like, all the time these games are involved, but...
The tools we brought along from the Endzone are
this one
slowly
just
but
seems to
surely
be a little
running
bit
out.
more so.
So now, let's focus on manufacturing new tools. The tools will help us to work effectively. We'll need metal for that, so we'll prepare for production by building another recycler, which we'll commission to recover metal from scrap. After that, we'll need a workshop to enable the manufacturing of brand new tools.
That seems simple enough. Construct a workshop to produce metal tool. Metal tools produced. Scrap tool, metal tool. I hope they know about proper crop rotation. How are our crops doing? No, they're doing just fine. I really want a hunter. Like, look at these stags. They're just all wandering around. Not gonna let me. Fine. What's this? Oh, gather wood. Just save the game now. Well, I could probably... Well, let's see. Need metal tools. We've got one. Need one more. Let's speed things up a bit more. There we go.
With our lovely new tools, we are now prepared to work effectively. Should you ever run out of metal, keep in mind that you can also instruct your workshop to manufacture tools from scrap instead of metal. Though they won't be quite as effective, it's still better than being forced to work with bare hands. Down in the Endzone, we had sufficient time and resources to educate ourselves properly. But our children don't have this luxury. We ought to build a school and pass on what we've learned. As a result, they will be able to survive and work better and more effectively.
Sure, sounds good. We shall build a school. Community. School. Oh. let's put it right here. Having the school near the town square seems like a good idea. We'll want to assign someone to be a teacher. Hopefully we pay them better than we do in the States. Good old school marm. Or what would be the male version of a school marm? School sarm? Yarp? School mister? School darn? We should probably speed things up, shall I? Get that school. Get the wisest and the oldest to teach the childrens. Like the person who's teaching me. You're going to be...
Perfect.
Arthur, you're going to be the teacher,
Besides
right?
the fact that educated children work more effectively, we'll also teach them to be more careful with their protective clothing and tools. This, in turn, leads to them staying intact longer, and we conserve valuable resources.
My reading comprehension interpreted that sentence correctly. However, a little part of my brain interpreted that sentence as teaching the children to keep themselves intact longer.
Now that our population is starting to grow, we ought to again turn our attention to the topic of food production. We are already accumulating fish and tilling our fields. A gatherer's cabin will now enable us to gather mushrooms and berries from the forest nearby.
Okay. Do we have enough people for that? Kind of running low. Let's put it next to... Let's put it not next to, but near enough to the Forester's Lodge. I'm also going to go in, and I'm going to go to tasks, and I'm going to get rid of the gather wood task. Can I stop? Change field of work. Demolish. Activate, deactivate production. There we go. Because I believe this guy will continuously... Yeah, he continuously does food, so I don't need to have this thing going. In fact, I can probably just get rid of it? Yeah. And since we have somebody on that... Alright, so now let's speed things up a bit. We need to build this gatherer's cabin. Oh, I have more settlers. Okay, where is gather? Gather.
Very good. As you can see, the gatherer's cabin is an effective possibility to get food quickly. But watch out. After a drought, it's going to take some time before the plants have regrown. As is the case with most buildings, here too, you can relocate the working area at any time. Although we are sufficiently supplied at the moment, our survival depends on diligent planning. If we can lay out a plan for an orchard, then we can start to plant fruit or nut trees that we can harvest after a few seasons.
Sure, let's do that. Okay, defense decorations. We're gonna go with food, probably. Orchard. And let's click on water. Alright, good, good. How about we set an orchard right here? Let's make it a big orchard. There we are. Okay, so now we need another farmer. Farmer. We can get rid of that. That's a little weird. Seeds of the field. Let's choose seeds. Choose seeds.
The orchard has been laid out, and the trees are already beginning to grow.
Good for digestion.
Similar to crops for farming, trees need some time until they are fully grown. But once they have grown, they can be harvested again and again until they have to be newly planted. Our gatherer's cabin gathers food from the surrounding forests. However, there are any number of other plants there which we can use as well. These plants can be gathered by an herbal hut. The herbs gathered there can be consumed by settlers to replenish their health.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll get an herbalist. Resources? Herbal hut. Alright. Well, oh, hey, it fits right perfectly! Oh, that is a serendipitous thing. We have the forester, the herbalist, and the gatherer. So for the gatherer, so apparently with the gatherer, change field of work, we can do something like send the gatherer over here. Meanwhile, the forester sticks around this area. But let's go ahead and change his field of work a bit and make it kind of just this area in general. And once we have the herbalist's hut up, oh, I should probably assign an herbalist. Alright. We can... I will put her there, them, whoever they are, right there. Oh. And the scrapyard needs more scrap to pull. So I will have them gather from over here.
Well done. We can equally utilize the gathered herbs to convert them into medicine later on. It might happen that an illness breaks out in our settlement from time to time and spreads among our settlers. That's why we always ought to have enough herbs on hand. Radiation is the main reason why the health status of our settlement can decrease. Although our settlers already use protective clothing to shield themselves against environmental radiation, it might occur that our sources of water become contaminated. We should start to filter our water to prevent this from happening. We will need a great deal of charcoal to accomplish this. The charcoal kiln will burn wood to produce charcoal. Great. We can use the charcoal in conjunction with a filtration system to purify our water. Unfortunately, our cistern is not able to do this. Only the water tower has the necessary equipment for this capability. It would be a disgrace if we had to demolish our trusted cistern just to erect a water tower in its place. What we ought to do instead is upgrade the cistern itself. A water tower can store much more water and provides workplaces for a lot more water carriers than our old cistern.
Let's do it! This reminds me a lot of Exiled? Was it Exiled? Recycler built. Assigned settlers to profession refined. Oh. Oh, I need to upgrade your system water tower. I need a, okay. I see now. So I also need to build another recycling center. And that needs to be plastic. And we need to go to refiner. There we go. And then I need to upgrade the water carrier task to 5.
Our new water tower is up and ready for action. Good work. Filtering the water is an important next step because clean drinking water is a key mainstay of any stable society.
Okay.
Let's begin with filtering our water. To save on charcoal, we ought to ensure that at least a little bit of water not contaminated by radiation is being stored in our water tower. Water gained from a well is never contaminated by radiation, so it suggests itself for that purpose. Then we can use the remaining charcoal to produce better protective clothing.
All right, let's build a well. Well, let's build a well. Not the most efficient layout, but I think it'll do. Taylor's shop. I like that they warn you that it's auto-saving. That's pretty good. Alright, so this is
Good work.
Is it
We are
Exile
continuously
Banished?
taking
That's
steps
the
towards
name of
being
the game.
better and
This
better
reminds
equipped
me a
to be
lot
able
of
to survive
Banished.
in this hostile environment. Filtered water is a precious asset, and later on we can even use it to irrigate our fields. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Not only our water can become a hazard for our settlers due to radiation, our food can too. We ought to erect a decontamination post to prevent settlers from eating meals that are contaminated with radiation.
Alright. That makes sense. Community? No. Logistics. Hey, there we are. Alright, so a decontamination post. I'm going to put this near the bulk of our water and food because that just seems to make sense. There we are. We'll make that a build priority. Decontaminate. Oh. Oh. Alright, well, here we go. Sure. That seems to make sense. I'll just have to make sure that whenever I put down a hunting lodge, it's somewhere over here within the decontamination posts radius. Oh. Decontaminator.
Very good. The decontamination
Probably should have put it
post
over
is going
here,
to supply
but
all
whatever.
buildings that stockpile food and are located in its working area in order to purify the food that has been affected by radiation. It's true. We should never forget that even when we optimally prepare and protect ourselves, we're still going to lose friends and members of our family time and again. We're going to mourn them, come what may. But if we're able to bury them in a cemetery, then we'll get over the pain and let them rest in peace.
I don't know. I personally think planting trees over the corpses is probably the best thing to do. Let our future food feed upon the corpses of our dead. Cemetery built. Alright, this is probably going to be community. Yes. I'm thinking right here. Oh. Alright, maybe right here. And who do we need? We need a grave keeper, a cemetery keeper person, mortician. Wait, how come I don't have a tailor?
Okay. The cemetery will help us to quickly get a hold on ourselves and focus on the tasks that lie ahead. It's not a pleasant thought, but that's the way things are. At the very least, we're pioneers, aren't we? Maybe we ought to distract ourselves to lighten up the mood. We can erect a number of buildings to increase confidence in our settlement, including, for example, a campfire or a pub. In this situation, however, our best option would probably be to upgrade our town center. Settlers can visit the new town center, and by doing so, increase their confidence for a while. Very good. The new town center not only gives us more storage space, at the same time, it functions just like a campfire, too. Settlers can visit the new town center, and by doing so, increase their confidence for a while. Now that we have made efforts to ensure the spiritual well-being of our settlers, we ought to attend to their physical health as well. Our settlers can get sick from time to time. Settlers who have become infected with a disease can die from it if they're not treated. Settlers will go to a medical facility to have themselves treated and will be admitted there, provided that beds are still available. We ought to ensure our settlers' medical health care.
It's taking the post-apocalypse to get universal health care for settlers? Okay. Medical facility. Oh. I mean, it's not the perfect fit I would like it to be, but it seems pretty solid. Let's make that a priority, and we will ensure that we have a docked medic, as it were. And fast forward. Kind of like the layout I have this town getting. Ooh, lots of rain. Oh, what's this? Plum, currency, plum. Cut down trees, harvest. I guess that makes sense.
With this step, we have ensured the survival of the settlement for a while. Very good work. Since more and more children are being born these days, we should start to plan for the long term.
Okay.
While cabins are a good way to get settlers to start a family, they only provide limited space. This can quickly lead to people having to live on the street. Allow me to suggest to you that cabins be provided only in a very targeted manner in order to control the population growth of your settlement. Nothing is worse than not having enough resources to provide for everyone. We ought to build a shelter to be able to provide other inhabitants with a roof over their heads too.
Okay. A shelter. Let's do a shelter. Housing. Oh. Why? I have a nice convenient strip of land right here for a shelter. Right next to the graveyard. What if roads end up being a thing? Do we have anybody else? Arabs! Welcome! I think you're new.
Very good. Remember that when children grow up, they're going to leave their parents' house and look around for a new place to live. It might happen that they don't find any home at all. We ought to build a shelter to be able to provide all inhabitants with a roof over their heads. I've already pointed out to you that it could become very dangerous if we were to run out of food at some point. Since a lot of people are going to be living in the new shelter, we ought to provide them with access to food in their vicinity. A hunting lodge can look for wildlife in the surrounding area to bring a little meat to the menu.
All right. So, what is the radius? Okay, cool. So we will get a hunting lodge. I'm going to put the hunting lodge up against, yes, right about there, because it's still within range, and we can get a hunter, and we can set them up to kind of cover. Yeah. All right. What's this? Oh, it's filled. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Choose seed. We don't have much seeds. All right. Cancel. Can't harvest yet, so. But it's also what? Full production limit. Oh, we've reached our production limit. We're doing too good. Clearly, we must stop. He's probably going to tell us about storage units or something soon. We've got a deer population in the actual town. We should be able to acquire enough meat here eventually. Oh, okay, so we're going to be getting venison. This is going to involve a bit of work, because I also have to have him move things along to acquire Hunter, eh? Let's max that out. I'm going to pause production of the fishing so our hunter can do some more work. Then I have to send him after some boars, which I think are over there. Alright. How are we doing? Anything? I'm gonna pause production on that too, because we're maxed out on food. I know it's a tutorial, but we've got enough food to go around. Just distribute. See, what this world needs is more people focused on logistics.
Perfect. The hunting lodge equally provides us directly with food, but it functions somewhat irregularly because it relies on wildlife in the surrounding area. Nevertheless, it can be indispensable during a drought, because even the deer and wild boar still roam around the forest.
Okay.
However, wild animals can not only be shot, they can be captured too. When a wild animal has been captured, it can be brought to a pasture and served there as livestock. In order to capture wild animals, you have to instruct your hunter to do this. You also ought to set up a pasture and assign a herder.
Okay, pasture. Let's put the pasture near... Taking you out to the pasture, old boy. Let's put the pasture near the hunter and the grove. And we will assign the hunter to capture. Oh, I'm already on the fastest one. Oh, got to assign somebody to be the herder. And we want to assign a type of animal. Save. I'm getting through this tutorial before I'm stopping the stream. Then I'm going to go and play something a little more exciting. Maybe a shooter, maybe Vermintide. I haven't played Vermintide 2 in a long time. I miss that game. Alright, so Hunter, how about you go and capture... there are wild boars right over there. Go and do that. I'm gonna make another herbalist. Let's add another medic and another teacher. Since we have enough settlers, I might as well do that. going on over here? Oh, it's an interesting location, that's all. Come on, Hunter. Do your job. Capture! Woo! We've got a boar! Pretty sure that was the hunter capturing a boar. Hunting lodge. We're just gonna go and focus there too.
Animals captured by a hunter are brought to a pasture where they are tended to and cared for by herders.
We need
Some
bacon.
animals produce resources
It's
such as
post-apocalyptic.
milk or eggs. Other animals
And everything can
only
be so much
slaughtered to
better
eat. You ought to
with
find
bacon.
out for yourself which type of animal brings you which benefit. On each pasture, you can choose which type of animal ought to be kept there.
I might do chickens next. I just don't know if I've seen any chickens.
You must provide water for the animals you keep on your pasture. This enables them to survive and reproduce. When enough animals are fully grown, the herder will start to slaughter them. If you don't want animals to be slaughtered, you can also instruct the herder not to do so.
Sorry, vegans. It's a post-apocalyptic. Post-apocalypse. We're not gonna... You know, Babe is gonna have to be bacon eventually.
Now your herders know how they ought to handle the animals. And now that you've already captured several animals, don't forget to instruct your hunters to hunt animals again in the future so that they can continue to gather and provide food. With our increased production, our stockpile is going to run out soon. The supply routes for our production buildings are getting longer and longer too. To tackle these problems, you ought to build a temporary storeroom and have roads laid out.
Ah! I was right. Storeroom. Because we're running into maximum. Is that resources? No. Community? Oh, logistics. That makes sense. All right, let's see here. Let's put that near here. Nice and centralized with all the food production. And then we need to build a dirt road. Which, you know, makes sense. We'll build a nice dirt... Oh, no! I did not take that into account. Oh, wait. What? Hold on. Divine... Oh, okay. So many dirt roads built. All the dirt roads. Yes. Where's the temporary storeroom? Oh. Okay. Charcoal kiln. I thought I placed it. Oh, I placed it right there. Let's prioritize that.
Good. Temporary storerooms increase your settlement's general storage capacity. Place them in a targeted manner in order to shorten the routes for goods between your production buildings. Roads are equally a great benefit because settlers moving on roads can go distinctly faster than on a normal supporting surface.
Okay. Place them in a targeted manner in order to shorten the routes. Roads can be equally beneficial. Yeah, okay.
To improve the whole thing even further, we can build a market to improve logistics at the settlement. Besides being an enormous stockpile for resources that is even able to store water, the market is responsible for distributing resources within your settlement. What's more, it also increases your settlers' confidence.
Okay. So, market. Put the markets. Oh. That actually ends up being kind of perfect. Uh-oh. We have radiation. That's not good. I didn't think about that. Get another decontaminator. Alright, markets will be built. Oh, whoops. Go next. That's what I wanted.
Logisticians are able to amass resources from the whole settlement and bring them to the market. This improves the flow of your products and leads to your settlers having to walk shorter distances to fulfill their individual needs. The combination of these attributes makes the market the ideal building when you want to enlarge or even relocate your settlement. The larger your settlement gets, the farther some settlers have to travel to get to all of the food you produce. To make life a little easier for them, you can build a food station. Logisticians who work at the food station will collect food from your storage buildings and production facilities, and
Oh no! All sorts of radiation. Everyone's skin is about to slough off. Food station. Speed up. So far, I'm enjoying this game. I'm definitely going to have to play it again after the tutorial to get a better feel for it. Obviously, the tutorial is pacing things very weird. Of course, you have all of these things where it's like, oh, hey, there's nothing to produce. Here, produce a radiation suit, you lazy bastard. And then we have the recyclers all... Oh, whoops. No, you're supposed to be... Wait, what? There we go. Then the market here, and then you have the scrapyard here. But the scrapyard should probably be collecting scrap. Here, let's have them collect scrap from over here, because there's a lot. And you know what? Let's increase the workforce for the scrapyard, because those motherfuckers, they got a lot to do. I have enough people. Just max that out. Alright, so what am I missing?
With the new food station, your settlers are now able to supply themselves with food directly on site. If your settlement is supposed to grow even further, you can think about whether you want to provide additional food stations.
Great.
Distributing food at your settlement is going to prove to be extremely practical. However, your settlers not only need food to survive, they need water too. To be able to distribute water in a targeted manner, you can...
Okay, fine. A water point. Logistics. A water point. Here we are. What are we up to? Almost an hour and a half of this, and we're still in the tutorial. Alright, you know what? Once this is done, I'm going to save this game. Hey, it did for me. Alright, so that being that, let's pause. I'm going to save the game properly. That was a quick save, I guess. I'm going to use the restroom, because I have been enjoying this mediocre wine a little too much. And then I'm going to play something a little more exciting. Maybe some Vermintide, or one of the old school shooters. Or old school inspired shooters I have picked up. I hope you've enjoyed. I know these settlement building games aren't exactly the most interesting to watch, especially when you're going through the tutorial. But I will say so far this game has my interest. Of course, the tutorial isn't going to determine everything. It's going to teach me the basics, and then I'm going to have to play it again later on with the knowledge I've gathered. So maybe, probably not tomorrow, but maybe Thursday, I'll stream this again after I finish the tutorial, which I might do tonight, I might not, who knows. But, like I said, I'm going to go to the restroom and play something a little more exciting for those of you who are still up at this hour watching me play video games. Or having me on in the background playing video games, because, I don't know, how many people actually, like, actively watch? I've never been on that side of Twitch before, except for my musician friends. You see, the Twitch I watch are all EDM DJs and musicians, and the occasional cute kitty live stream, because I like cats. Go figure. So, I'll be right back. Go to the restroom. Alright, goodbye. Give me a follow if you haven't already. And if you have, thank you. Check me out on Twitter at numeric1madcatter, on YouTube at 2 locations. You can't tell I'm raising up 2 fingers, but there you are. 2 locations. One is Twisted Turns. That's my gaming channel. It does feature a lot of stuff I stream, but it also features whatever board game stuff I do, which hasn't been much, I admit. And then there is The Mad Catter, which is where I tell horror stories, which I do need to update. It's been a while. I also have my podcast, which is Twisted Tea Time Podcast. You can find it on a number of podcast aggregate sites like Google, Amazon, iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Can't find me on, what's that music service everybody uses? Spotify. Everybody except me, apparently. Can't find me on Spotify yet. Working on that, kind of. This is just a reminder to myself that I need to work on that, really. But yes, that's where I tell horror stories as well. Updated a little more often than my YouTube channel, which isn't saying much. And if you wish to throw a little money my way, well, there's a tip jar down below, and I do have a Patreon at patreon.com, themadcatter. But I need to revamp that because I want to include things like, hey, I'll DM for you if you pledge this much, for like a one-shot or something. Or maybe I can have people be part of a campaign, as long as they are good. Anyway, these are just me rambling at the end of this. Go on, have fun, and I'll see you back here in a few.